What's up, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Deanna Reese Williams, and I figured I would give you guys a March and set our first quarter goals and how did they go? Because I'd mentioned early on in the year that I would go over my first quarter goals and let you guys know how they went. I will say, as productive as I am, there are some parts that I'm going to have to pivot because I was not successful in completing the goal, but that's okay. So let's get right into it. First, I want to say my top priorities have been my PsyD, and along with relaunching, well, I should say my PsyD. I'm a solo entrepreneur, and I also do content creation, obviously on YouTube, and relaunching my podcast channel. So that's just a little bit. Also, my priorities in the month of March was a 45-day challenge, which ended, which was also part of the first quarter of the year. And I also had some CrossFit goals as well. So if you don't know me, I am a full-time faculty at a community college. I teach early childhood education courses, but I'm also a doctoral student completing my doctorate in psychology with an emphasis on criminology and justice. And I'm a solo entrepreneur. I'm an indie children's book author, and I also am in the process of relaunching my nature-based preschool program called Outback Learning. And when I don't have anything else to do, I know it's ridiculous. I'm also typically doing some sort of a challenge. I think I'm taking a little pause from challenges. I just completed a 45-day challenge in the month of March, and I did a 75-day challenge from October till mid-December. So that's a little bit about me. And in the midst of all of that, there's a little bit of life that happens. I shouldn't say a little bit, a whole lot of life happens. I also enjoy CrossFit, and I'm feeling really enthusiastic about it because I finally feel like I've gotten my groove back, like I got a little habits back, because for 3 straight weeks, I have managed to go to CrossFit at minimum 4 days a week. So that's a huge victory for me, considering I was having a really hard time being able to participate in January and February. And actually, my stats for that, I went to class twice in January and twice in February. And for the month of March, I've already gone over 12 times. So that's a huge victory for me. So some priorities that I've had, we're going to start with the PsyD. So my initial goal was to complete my entire PsyD, like the entire thing, all 4 chapters, preliminary, oral defense, everything, by March 15th, because I was trying to graduate by May of 2025. I shouldn't say that, like walk the stage, May of 2025. But there was a hard deadline in which I had to make, which was March 15th. And unfortunately, that's not going to happen. I will probably be done, honestly, I will be done with the program in May or June. But in spite of not reaching that goal, a birth of a series has come out of this called The Doc Stories. So I will be launching all of this in the second quarter of the year and just sharing a little bit more of the journey, because up until this point, you guys have been getting like these daily updates because of the challenges, which my challenges, if you've missed out on them, basically I was working intensely on the paper for 45 days straight, and also doing some sort of movement with my body for 45 days straight. And although I'm proud of myself for doing those challenges, I encountered a hurdle, honestly, with my not just committee member but with my my chair. So I'm not going to get into that in this video, but just know after April 15th, I will be sharing doc story videos every single Wednesday. And what I've decided is that I still want to document my journey, just for myself, and then for those that are pursuing their doctorate, that just want to know, like, what did you do? How was it? Was it hard? Was it challenging? You'll be able to watch my stories and hear all about it, which, by the way, Bruno Mars says hello. He has not made it to a wall yet, but he does say hello to you guys. So that's an update on my side D. As far as my solo entrepreneurial bag, it's been super fascinating and fun. Um, First, I feel like when I talk about solo entrepreneur, I'm also kind of talking about content creation. So I did a whole series on goal setting, and I did some lives talking about this. My channel talks about a lot about goal setting and intentions and mindset. But what I also like to do is share like behind the scenes, like what does this actually look like when someone sets these goals? Do I actually set them and achieve them, or am I just talking the talk? I'm not a talk the talk kind of gal. I want to actually walk it and show people like this is very much doable. So, a couple of things have happened. For one, I do use my goal development plan, which is not for public consumption yet. It used to be a long time ago. So I had wrote out my goals and basically was very, very clear about what I wanted to do and how much time a week I needed to allocate to work towards these goals as a solo entrepreneur. Now, mind you, I do work full time at a community college, and I don't even, let me just say this, I don't talk about the depth of what I do in my job because that's not what the channel is about. Not that I'll ever not talk about early childhood or things in that capacity. I will eventually when I'm talking about Outback Learning, but I do live a busy life over there, but I've also learned over the years, just as much as I work hard in one space, I like to be able to have some sort of outlet. So I find that being a solo entrepreneur and even doing content creation is like a great creative outlet for myself. And it's not as time consuming as people might think it is. But I just wanted to make that clear. So, okay, one of the things that I did in my action plan, I talked about how many hours a week that I feel like I needed to focus on content creation or solo entrepreneurship in general. Um, and I was saying it's between like 3 to 5 hours a week. And I feel like that's kind of pushing it. And the reason why I say that is some weeks it's an ebb and flow. Like during the month of March, I had a week off for spring break. So obviously I could devote way more time to content creation versus a regular week when I'm teaching every single night out of the week. And then grading on Sundays, like it's a whole thing. And then I travel to campus on Wednesdays and Fridays. And honestly, on Friday nights, I'm such a pancake. I have no energy to do anything. I'm lucky if I edit a video. And at that point, Friday nights are just for myself. So I like to try to allocate like 5 hours a week towards something when it comes to business and entrepreneurship, content creation. In certain seasons of my life, I'm going to be doing more content creation, or certain weeks might be more content creation, or I can focus on the bookkeeping course that I'm taking, or I can focus on marketing the Outback Learning program. Like there's just different weeks require different tasks. Um, so I like to, my first thing that I like to do every week is write out what are my goals and what are my intentions. And I also like to do a monthly task of all these things. So for the month of March, I wanted to batch record 10 videos, 10 YouTube videos, which I did. I think, yeah, I did. And then batch record 4 podcast episodes, which I did do that and I actually exceeded. And again, I had a week off for spring break. Um, Finished the 45-day challenge, which my 45-day challenge, I went live every single day. Y'all, I don't want to say like I'm glad it's over, but I'm glad that part of my life is over. And then also I do weekly cook with me on Sunday, which I'm super excited because I'm going to be like mixing it up a little bit this as of tomorrow with the cook with me. Plan out monthly content, so like post shorts and whatever to support the videos, and then weekly. I talked about doing like a weekly video about my husband and I, but it just wasn't going to pan out. It just partly because our anniversary was in the month of March and I had this like idea, but I'm like, we're not going to do this. I'll just share a clip of our anniversary and us like hanging out and it'll be fine. And then I also wanted to set up my cameras for my podcasts. And then my to-do list was like writing out my monthly plan for YouTube videos, write out monthly plan for podcast videos and recording, map out the release for May of 2025, and then begin thinking about OBL planning. So did I do all of those things? Yes, because I did have a week off from work. So that made life a whole lot easier as far as achieving those monthly goals. And then what I also do is I will map it out on the calendar and then I break it down weekly. So then every week I know I'm working towards something. I don't know why I had this grand idea before work or when I would get off from work, I would be able to record podcast episodes. Yeah, that probably happened once in the whole month. And I've got about 2 more episodes that I need to record, but I'm still very much ahead of schedule because the goal was actually I had 12 episodes that I was planning to release. But I was talking with my dear YouTube bestie, Dee LaSure, which if you're not checking out her channel, you should. She's like, well, if you want to have like seasons, you can do like 8 episodes a season. I was like, oh my gosh, that's genius. So we're going to do that. And so we're going to launch in March or in May, the podcast channel. And then meanwhile, with Outback Learning, I've been able to focus on, last night I actually was working on, I didn't have to do too much work, but I was able to look at flyers that I'd created before. I just need to change the dates and update them with new dates. And then also create a flyer that's like talking about the summer program and like the costs and like location and all that stuff, because I am going to be doing First Saturday Business at our local mall, which I'm sure you're like, a mall? What are you talking about? Which is a very normal place for people to get information in the community that I live in. So I'm really excited about where I'm going with Outback, and I've got some things like kind of bubbling in my head of like, ooh, I could do like monthly events of some sort, along with launching into the preschool program, the nature-based preschool program that I'm wanting to relaunch. So I'm really excited about it. I'm very passionate about it. But that's where my solo entrepreneurial like mind is at as far as like where it's been for the month of March. As far as YouTube is concerned, you guys have been watching my content. I've been uploading on a regular basis thanks to, again, Dee LaSure, like, girl, you need to do batch recordings. Game changer, less stressed about recording. And so I find that I have like a good weekend and maybe like one other day out of the week where I'll do like quite a few recordings, or I just start working on a series. So I started working on the doc story series early in the month of March. And so I've already got like 8 episodes pre-recorded. And so that's going to be able to launch out in mid-April and then be able to share that with you guys as time goes on. But I also feel like I want to share with you all my solo entrepreneurial space. And so I'm thinking about rotating some videos on Sunday with just updates on like how Outback Learning is going, what my indie author journey is doing, and then still mixing in my goal-oriented content as well. So that's what I have going on in YouTube. As far as challenges, I don't know if I'm going to do any more challenges right now. Just because this time of the year is going to be extremely busy and I don't need like another pressing type of task of like, oh my gosh, I got to get this done. It's the time of the year where my students are graduating and they're also registering for classes for summer and fall. And then I'm going to be preparing to be teaching this summer, which I'm teaching everything asynchronously. Just a lot of moving parts. Now, I did not mention my travel channel. I know I did not work on it at all. I mean, I have some ideas on what I want to do. And honestly, I think I'm overthinking the channel. I think it's one of those things that it's like, just start recording like you've recorded here. And I don't know why I'm putting like a certain amount of pressure on myself for this channel, because I feel like it's going to go well. It's going to thrive. And it might even do better than this channel because it's a little bit more relatable. So who knows? Um, as far as how did I do with like business and PsyD and just content creation consistently, like just consistently doing all the things in quarter 1, I feel like I really got myself organized. And I know that's probably shocking for people. They're like, girl, you're always organized. Yeah, but like, I feel like I was tracking things better to make sure that I was hitting the mark on every single goal. And if I didn't make the goal, I was able to look and say, oh, yeah, well, that week I had this and this going on. Um, and so I think that's been huge. And even just looking at my calendar, like taking the time and like marking through what did I accomplish or what did I not accomplish? Like that's, I think, really invaluable in terms of making your goals and like achieving them. And then being able to reevaluate at the end of the week and say, well, what happened here? Why didn't I get this done? And I look at this past week, like Tuesday, I feel like I had a million things that I'd packed in the day. And it's like, why? Like, what's going on? Why was I not achieving this? Um, and so I'll reflect on that and figure out what were some of the barriers that I encountered so then I can plan better. And maybe it's just like the teacher in me or the educator in me that's like, I like data. Data really supports, like, it helps guide what you're going to do. And it's the same thing like when you're building curriculum. Like you build curriculum to where it's going to support your program, but most importantly, how you build it is going to meet the needs of the children in the program. And that's like overall the intention. So I feel like I had more consistency. I've already figured out with my goal development plan, although I love it, there are some limitations with it. There's not enough space for me to write, but that's okay. I also realized from using my goal development plan that I definitely needed a planner where I could write out my things a little bit better and have more space. And so, which I think is huge. So just having notes. So going into April, I will actually write out my goals, my to-do list, notes, all of that. That'll happen here. As far as, let me make sure that I'm covering everything. As far as going into quarter 2, so quarter 2 is where I feel like a lot of things are going to be launching. A lot of things that I've been cooking up and preparing. And to be quite honest with you guys, a lot of you are meeting me on YouTube, but I've had my Instagram account, which I've kept very, very quiet this past year because I've been working so hard on my PsyD and I just want it to be over with. I just want to be done. But I'm going to be putting out content there, content here, launching, saying like, Outback is launching. I'm doing these First Business Saturdays. Podcast is coming out. And that's what I see happening in the second quarter. By the time the second quarter is over, it'll be summertime. And I would have had 2 or 3 weeks of the summer program actually happen at that point, which is another miracle within itself. And I really believe that I will be done with my PsyD in June of 2025. Like, I met with my new chair and it was such a positive and productive meeting. And you guys know I like positive and productive. So you know that that's going to go well. And I thrive better in a space where it is more structured. I do not thrive. I take that back. Structured, I'm going to thrive even better. I have learned how to thrive in situations that are not organized very well. That's just the truth. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. I've had a very small percentage of supervisors that are extremely organized. And for the most part, I've had a lot of supervisors that, their goal in life was to be bosses, and they are. And at least at almost 42, they don't drive me as crazy as much as they did in my early 30s and 20s. Because I'm like, why are you so disorganized? But I don't feel that way anymore. If nothing else, I try to help them as best as I can if they're comfortable with me helping them, if that makes sense. Sometimes people don't feel comfortable with that, but I just try to make the situation better than, like, I don't know, putting myself down the rabbit hole of being angry. Not that I don't have moments, because I can, but I try to be an adult and say, Deanna, like, they're not going to change. Not everyone's going to be organized like you, and that's okay. So you let it go and let God, type of thing. So yeah, the Q2 is a lot of launching. Once I'm done with my PsyD, I'm so excited because that means I will actually be able to work on book number 3 for my children's book series. I'll be able to pick up where Dee and Worm are at, Destiny and Worm. You can find my books on my website if you want signed copies and all the things. Otherwise, you can go to Amazon. The name of the books are Picture Day and Sweet Potato and Mud Pies. So cool things. And so for the month of April, here are my goals. I want to prepare to start marketing the podcast launch in May. I want to complete my podcast batch recordings, which again, I only have like 2 left, so it's not going to take me that long to do. I will complete my first business Saturdays, which will be in the month of April, May, and June. So I need to make sure that flyers are printed sooner rather than later, because this is all happening in like less than a week. Continue the Cook With Me Sundays. So that'll be like the one live component that I keep, because it seems like people like seeing folks do normal things. I don't know, including myself. Getting Outback Learning prepared for summer and fall. And I would also include like updating the website, because there is a website, and write out my monthly plan for all of my, goals, my monthly plan for the month of April. And I would also say, like, write out my quarterly goals as well. I think that's important. And then start batch recording the Outback Learning series, and then continue to record my goal-oriented content. So that's what I have going. I hope that this video is like really valuable to you. I'm just checking my notes one more time to make sure that I did not miss anything. I guess my question for you guys are, what are your March, or what were your March goals? What do you have going on in the month of April? And what are your quarterly 2 goals? And I would love to hear what you guys are up to. And thank you for liking and subscribing and turning on the notification bell on my channel. But I'm going to sign off now. This is like a longer video than I planned, but you guys can catch my videos on Sundays and Mondays. Occasionally, I might throw out like a Friday video. You just never know. And I like to sprinkle in a couple of vlogs every now and again as well. So, all right, guys, take care. Have a good day. Have a good night, and have a good morning. And I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.